Guys, for number 5, remember the area of a rectangle is base times height. So really, it's just so you can kind of say that this is the base. I know it's not sitting flat, so you got to kind of think about we're going to rotate it. So now this would be the base, and then this would be the height. So what we got to be able to do is we got to find the length of both of those in order to find the area. So once again, to find the length, all right, to find the length, we usually try to count, but because these are going diagonally, the moment that they go diagonally, this tells me automatically that I must use the Pythag theorem. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the Pythag theorem for this side. So I'm going to find this side right here. To do that, what we're going to do is we're going to have to turn this into a right triangle. So I'm going to draw this over, and then all we're going to do is find A and B. All right, so we're going to count. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I went down 7 over 7. So remember, this is 90 degrees. So the side opposite of it is my C, which we'll call X because that's kind of what I'm looking for. So now this is A, this is B. So I'm going to take A, we're going to plug in. So I'm going to get 7 squared plus here's the B, which will be another 7 squared equals C squared, or you can call it X squared, whatever you want, doesn't matter. So now I'm going to simplify. Remember, this is not 7 times 2, this is 7 times 7. So I'm going to get 49 there. Obviously, I get the same exact thing there. So now when we're doing this, I'm going to use a calculator to solve this. That's the very first thing we always want to make sure we do is you will have a calculator on this test. So make sure you utilize it. Okay, don't try to do any of this in your head. So 49 plus 49 is going to give me 98. Remember to get the distance. We're going to take the square root of both sides. So we're going to take the square root of 98. The square root of 98 is 9.89. 9.89. It gives me a whole bunch of other numbers. Remember, I don't care about those numbers. All I care about is that number right there. You highlight it. We're looking at the number right after the decimal. So now we look here at this number behind that. Remember, that number behind it tells me to either change it if it's bigger than 5, or if it's 4 or less, then we're going to keep it the same. Since this is bigger than 5, this tells me I must change this number. So now, instead of having it 0.8, it's going to be 9.9. So now we're going to put 9.9 here. So now what we know is that we get base, which is 9.9. Okay, so hopefully you guys understand that. Now, the next thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find the height. Remember, we said this is the height. If I rotated it, this is going to be the height. So I got to find the distance of this. So to find the distance of this, okay, we'll call it y, just to use a different letter. We got to do the same thing. So we go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3. So we turn it into a right triangle again. And then we're going to use the exact same thing. So we're going to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now we're going to use these to plug in. So that's a, that's b. So we're going to get 3 squared plus 3 squared equals y squared. You could call it c. It doesn't really matter what letter you use. So then what I'm going to do is, remember, 3 squared is not 3 times 2. It's 3 times 3. So that's 9. Obviously, that's the same. So that's 9. And then 9 plus 9 is 18. Then I'm going to take the square root of 18. I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to get 4.24. I only care about these numbers. So I'm going to look right here. And then remember, we're going to look at the number directly behind it. If it's 5 or above, we change it. If it's 4 or below, we keep the same. So this is numbers 4. So that means we keep that number, okay, right there. So we're rounding to the nearest 10th. So now 9.9, we're going to multiply that by 4.2 because that's the height. And we're going to go 9.9 times 4.2. Gives me an answer of 41.58. So the area is 41.58. Once again, rounding it to the nearest tenth. So we look at the number behind this. Oh, that's bigger than 5. It's 5 or bigger, so we're going to change it. So it's going to be 41.6. Okay? So that's how you would do number 5.